First light. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the command center of the UES Ascended Dawn, her dark eyes fixed on the massive holographic display dominating the bridge. The ship's revolutionary quantum sensors had detected something unprecedented, a massive energy signature unlike anything humanity had encountered in their decades of space exploration. "Analysis, Dr. Harrison," she called out, maintaining her calm despite the growing tension on the bridge. The ship's chief scientist, a lanky man with prematurely gray hair, was hunched over his console, his fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "It's like nothing we've seen before, Captain," Harrison replied, excitement breaking through his usually reserved demeanor. "The energy signature suggests technology far beyond our current understanding. But there's something else." He paused, rechecking his readings. "The pattern is erratic, almost like they're running from something." The Ascended Dawn represented humanity's greatest achievement, their first deep space exploration vessel. But unlike the sleek, minimalist designs proposed by the optimistic faction of the United Earth government, the Dawn was built with humanity's hard-learned lessons in mind. Beneath her smooth outer hull lay layers of advanced armor plating. Behind her scientific sensors lurked military-grade scanning arrays, and alongside her diplomatic quarters sat rows of missile tubes and particle beam projectors. Some had called it paranoid. Captain Chen called it prudent. Multiple contacts emerging from hyperspace. Lieutenant Rodriguez announced from tactical, her voice sharp with alertness. "Energy signatures match the one we've been tracking. Count is 17 vessels, varying sizes. Largest is approximately 3 kilometers in length." Chen straightened, her command training kicking in. "Defensive posture, but keep weapons powered down. Let's not make first contact with our guns hot." She turned to communications. "Officer Park, prepare to broadcast the first contact package on all frequencies." Before Park could respond, the quantum comm system crackled to life with a transmission that bypassed their encryption like it wasn't even there. The bridge crew froze as a voice filled the chamber. Not in English, but somehow perfectly understandable, as if the meaning was being placed directly into their minds. "Unknown vessel, this is Archanvina of the Collective Refugee Fleet. We request immediate assistance. We are being pursued by..." The transmission stuttered with what could only be described as fear. "They are coming. The Nexus swarm follows. Please, if you have any capability to fight." Captain Chen's decision was instant. "Battle stations. Power up all defensive systems. Rodriguez, I want a full tactical analysis of these refugee ships." Harrison, "Figure out how they're communicating with us." Park, "Prepare to receive refugees if necessary." Engineering, "Get me options for weapons configurations." The bridge erupted into controlled chaos as her crew responded with practiced efficiency. The Ascended Dawn might have been built for exploration, but her crew trained for every scenario imaginable. Through the quantum comm came another transmission, this time tinged with surprise. "Your vessel, these readings cannot be correct. You utilize nuclear fusion. Projectile weapons, how have you achieved faster-than-light travel with such primitive technology?" Chen allowed herself a small smile. She'd heard similar dismissals of human technology before, usually from the more optimistic members of the scientific community, who believed advancement must follow a strictly linear path. "Archanvina, this is Captain Sarah Chen of the UES Ascended Dawn. Yes, we use what you might consider primitive technology. But I assure you, we've refined these principles to levels you might find surprising. Now tell me about what's chasing you, and we'll see if our primitive weapons might be of help." As the Archon began explaining about the silicon-based Nexus swarm, an ancient threat that had emerged from deep space, Chen studied the tactical display. The refugee ships were indeed advanced, their hulls seemingly made of some kind of crystalline material that shifted and flowed like liquid. But they showed no signs of conventional armor or weapon systems. Their technology was beautiful, elegant, and possibly useless against a determined enemy. Multiple hyperspace signatures detected. Rodriguez called out, Pattern matches the Archon's description of hostile forces. Emergence in 30 seconds. Chen's voice cut through the rising tension. All hands, this is the captain. In 30 seconds, we make humanity's first impression on the galaxy at large. Let's show them what Earth's primitive technology can do. Battle stations. The Ascendant Dawn's nuclear reactors hummed to full power, her armor plates locked into combat configuration, and her weapon systems emerged from their concealed housings. She might not be the most advanced ship in this coming battle, but she was humanity's ship, built with the understanding that the universe wasn't always friendly, and that sometimes the old ways were the best ways. As the hostile signatures began emerging from hyperspace, Captain Chen stood at her command station, chin held high. The Ascendant Dawn might be about to face technology far beyond human understanding, but she had something these aliens might have forgotten: the human drive to survive, to protect, and to overcome any obstacle through ingenuity and determination. All hands, she commanded, her voice steady. Prepare for combat. Let's show the galaxy what humanity can do. The burden of knowledge. The Nexus swarm emerged from hyperspace like a nightmare, made real crystalline structures that seemed to devour light itself, each one larger than the Ascendant Dawn. But Captain Chen noticed something odd about their formation. They're not taking evasive action, she remarked, eyes narrowing. Rodriguez, analysis. They're not even attempting to shield themselves. Captain, Rodriguez reported, confusion evident in her voice. It's like they don't expect us to be a threat. Through the quantum comm, Archon Vina's voice carried a note of despair. Captain Chen, you must retreat. The Nexus cannot be harmed by energy weapons. Their crystalline structure absorbs and redirects any energy-based attack. We learned this at great cost. Chen exchanged glances with Dr. Harrison, who was already nodding. Good thing we don't rely solely on energy weapons then. Rodriguez, load the tungsten penetrators. Engineering, divert power to the magnetic acceleration coils. Primitive projectile weapons cannot possibly. Vina's protest was cut short as the Ascendant Dawn's main gun spoke. The tungsten round, accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed, struck the nearest Nexus construct. Instead of being absorbed or deflected, the kinetic energy transferred directly into the crystalline structure. Cracks appeared, spreading like lightning across its surface before the entire construct shattered into countless fragments. Silence filled the quantum comm channel. That's impossible, Vina whispered. Their energy absorption field doesn't work against good old-fashioned kinetic energy, Harrison completed, unable to keep the excitement from his voice. Sometimes the simplest solution is the best one. Chen didn't waste time savoring the victory. Rodriguez, target the next 3 largest constructs. Engineering, begin cycling the coils for sustained fire. Dr. Harrison, I want a full analysis of their debris. Let's see what else our primitive technology can tell us about them. As the Ascended Dawn engaged the Nexus swarm, Chen noticed something else. The enemy's responses were becoming more cautious, more deliberate. They were adapting. They're learning, she announced. Park, get me a channel to Archon Vina. We need to coordinate our defense before they figure out a counter to our weapons. The Archon's image appeared on the main display, her crystalline form shifting with what Chen had learned to recognize as agitation. Your weapons are effective, Captain, but the Nexus adapts quickly. They will find a way to counter kinetic attacks. Then we'll need to adapt faster, Chen replied. Tell me everything you know about their technology. And in return, I'll explain exactly how we manage to achieve spaceflight while keeping what you call primitive technology. I think you'll find our approach enlightening. Over the next hour, as the Ascendant Dawn maintained a defensive position protecting the refugee fleet, humans and collective members engaged in a rapid exchange of technological concepts. The collective's understanding of energy manipulation and quantum mechanics was centuries ahead of humanity's, but their single-minded pursuit of energy-based technology had left them vulnerable to threats that operated outside their paradigm. Your species' approach is fascinating, Vina admitted. While we focused on transcending physical limitations, you chose to master them instead. Your nuclear fusion drives are crude by our standards, but their reliability and power output are remarkable. Your projectile weapons seem primitive, yet they operate on principles we abandoned so long ago, we've forgotten how to counter them. Harrison, who had joined the discussion, leaned forward eagerly. And your quantum communication technology is incredible. The way you manipulate subspace fields, if we could apply that to our magnetic acceleration systems. Focus, Chen interrupted. The Nexus swarm is regrouping. They're changing their crystalline structure, likely trying to develop a defense against kinetic impacts. We need solutions now. Vina's form shifted in what Chen had learned was their equivalent of a nod. Perhaps we have been approaching this wrong. We've been trying to counter the Nexus using pure energy manipulation, but your projectile weapons suggest another path. If we combined our quantum field technology with your kinetic delivery systems, we could create a hybrid weapon. Harrison finished, his fingers already flying over his console. Something that uses both physical impact and quantum disruption. They wouldn't be able to adapt to both simultaneously. Chen watched as the Nexus swarm began moving again, their formation tighter, more purposeful. They were done testing humanity's capabilities. The real battle was about to begin. Whatever we're going to do, she announced, we need to do it fast. Arch and Vina, I'm sending you our weapon specifications. Dr. Harrison, work with their quantum specialists. Lieutenant Rodriguez, keep those penetrators firing. Buy us time to develop this hybrid system. As her crew scrambled to merge two radically different technological approaches, Chen allowed herself a moment of reflection. First contact had come not with peaceful exchange, but with desperate battle. Yet even in combat, humanity was showing the galaxy something new. That progress didn't always mean abandoning the old ways, but building upon them, combining them with the new in unexpected ways. The Nexus swarm was advancing again, their crystalline structures now morphed into configurations designed to deflect kinetic impacts. But Chen wasn't worried. They were about to learn another uniquely human lesson. The power of adaptation, of combining different approaches to create something greater than the sum of its parts. All hands, she called out, prepare for Phase 2. Let's show them what happens when humanity's determination meets collective wisdom. Trial by fire. The bridge of the ascended dawn thrummed with energy as Dr. Harrison made the final adjustments to their hybrid weapon system. Quantum field generators salvaged from the collected ships now encased the Dawn's tungsten penetrator rounds, creating projectiles that existed simultaneously in normal space and quantum states. Engineering reports hybrid systems are online, Rodriguez announced, her hands hovering over the newly modified weapons controls. But we've only got enough quantum field generators for 30 shots. Captain Chen nodded, studying the tactical display where the Nexus swarm had arranged themselves in a new formation. Their crystalline structures had transformed, developing layers that looked like they could deflect conventional kinetic impacts. But they hadn't encountered anything like what the Dawn was about to unleash. Arch and Vina, Chen called through the quantum comm, are your ships in position? The collective leader's response came instantly. Yes, Captain. Though I still find it difficult to believe we're using our quantum field generators as weapons. They were designed for communication and exploration. Sometimes the best weapon is something the enemy never expected to be a weapon, Chen replied. Status of the refugee fleet. Secured behind the third moon of this system's gas giant. We're ready. Chen took a deep breath, surveying her crew. They trained for first contact scenarios, but nothing like this. Combining alien technology with human ingenuity in the middle of a battle. Yet every face showed determination rather than fear. All hands, this is the captain. What we do here today will change the course of human history. Not just because we're making first contact, but because we're proving that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our ability to adapt, to take different ideas, and forge them into something new. Stand ready. The Nexus swarm made their move first. Their crystalline ships accelerated toward the dawn, their structures morphing to create what looked like focusing lenses, clearly preparing for some kind of energy weapon attack. "They still think we're going to fight them the way the collective did," Harrison observed. "They're not ready for what we've built." "Then let's not keep them waiting," Chen commanded. "Rodriguez, target their lead ship. Fire when ready." The Dawn's main gun roared. The hybrid round streaked across space, its quantum field creating a strange visual distortion around it. The Nexus construct's newly adapted armor layers aligned to deflect the kinetic impact, but they weren't prepared for what happened next. As the round struck, its quantum field interacted with the crystalline structure. Instead of being deflected, the projectile phased partially into quantum space, bypassing the physical defenses entirely. When it rematerialized, it was inside the construct's structure. The resulting explosion was spectacular, enhanced by the quantum energies released. "Direct hit," Rodriguez called out. "Target completely destroyed. Wait, energy readings are spiking across all remaining Nexus constructs." The swarm's response was immediate and devastating. Their crystalline structures began resonating, releasing waves of energy that distorted space itself. The Dawn shuddered as reality buckled around it. "They're trying to push us into quantum space," Harrison shouted, his hands flying over his console. "The same way our rounds partially phase, they're attempting to phase our entire ship." Chen grabbed her command chair as the deck heaved beneath her. "Vina, we need your expertise. What are they doing?" "They're using our own quantum technology against you," the Archon replied, her voice tight with concern. "This is why we abandoned physical technology. Quantum manipulation can render it useless by shifting it out of normal spacetime." But Chen noticed something. "Harrison, our nuclear reactor, what's its output reading?" The scientist checked, then his eyes widened. It's actually increasing. The quantum field is exciting the plasma, causing increased fusion reactions. Captain, we're generating more power than should be possible." Chen's mind raced. Once again, what the aliens saw as primitive technology was proving to be their salvation. The Dawn's crude nuclear reactor was actually helping them resist the quantum displacement. "Engineering. Divert all that excess power to the magnetic acceleration coils. Rodriguez, load all remaining hybrid rounds. Park, get me ship-wide." Chen's voice rang through every compartment of the Dawn. "All hands, brace for maximum acceleration. We're going to show them another human tradition. If something's trying to push you, sometimes you push back harder." The Dawn's engines flared to life, pushing against the quantum distortion with raw physical force. At the same time, Rodriguez fired the remaining hybrid rounds in rapid succession. Each shot was enhanced by the excess power from their reactor, creating quantum disruptions that interfered with the swarm's coordinated attack. "It's working," Harrison shouted. "The quantum field is collapsing. Their attack is destabilizing their own crystalline structure." Chen watched as confusion spread through the Nexus swarm. Their perfect formation began to break apart as their quantum manipulation backfired, their own advanced technology turned against them by the interaction with humanity's primitive systems. "Vina," Chen called out, "now would be a good time for Phase 2. "Acknowledged, Captain. Collective ships moving into position. Our sensors indicate the Nexus swarm's quantum field coherence is at its lowest point. We're ready to deploy the resonance pulse." Chen allowed herself a grim smile. While the Dawn had kept the Nexus occupied, the collective ships had been preparing their own surprise, a massive quantum pulse designed to exploit the weaknesses the humans had created. "All hands, secure for quantum shockwave. Let's finish this." As the collective ships released their pulse, enhanced by the disruptions caused by the Dawn's hybrid weapons, Chen reflected that this victory would be remembered not for the technology used, but for what it represented. Humanity had proven that true advancement didn't mean abandoning the old ways, but finding new ways to use them. The quantum shock wave expanded outward, catching the destabilized Nexus constructs. Their crystalline structures, already compromised by the hybrid rounds and their own backfired attack, shattered into countless fragments. In the silence that followed, Archon Vina's voice carried a note of awe. "Captain Chen, I believe we owe your primitive technology an apology. And perhaps our civilization owes humanity a debt of gratitude." Chen watched the debris of the Nexus swarm drift across her tactical display. "No apologies needed, Archon. Just promise me that when you tell this story to others, you'll remember its real lesson. Sometimes the best way forward is to remember where you came from. Unity in diversity." In the aftermath of their victory, the Ascendant Dawn's cargo bay had been transformed into an impromptu laboratory. Dr. Harrison stood before a holographic display, surrounded by both human engineers and crystalline forms of collective scientists. The debris from destroyed Nexus constructs floated in containment fields, being studied from every angle. "The interaction between our quantum fields and your kinetic weapons created something unprecedented," a collective scientist named Zora observed, her crystalline form shifting in patterns that Harrison had learned indicated excitement. The quantum resonance cascaded through their entire structure, like hitting just the right note to shatter a wine glass, Harrison explained. "But on a quantum level, we couldn't have done it without both technologies working together." Captain Chen watched from the doorway, a small smile playing on her lips. In just days, the two civilizations had moved from first contact to deep technological cooperation. The collective's dismissal of primitive technology had transformed into fascination with humanity's practical approaches. "Captain," Archon Vina's voice came through her personal communicator. "Might we speak privately?" Chen found the Archon in the observation deck, her crystalline form refracting starlight in mesmerizing patterns. The gas giant loomed large in the viewport, its massive form providing shelter to the refugee fleet. "Our analysts have finished their preliminary study of the battle," Vina began. "What your ship accomplished, it should have been impossible. Not just the victory, but the way your nuclear reactor actually gained stability from quantum interference. We've spent millennia pursuing pure energy manipulation, believing it to be the height of technological evolution. And now," Chen prompted, "now we realize we've been blind. We abandoned physical engineering so long ago that we forgot its potential. Your civilization's path, maintaining and perfecting these technologies alongside new discoveries, it offers possibilities we never considered." Their conversation was interrupted by a priority alert from the bridge. "Captain, we're detecting quantum disturbances at the system's edge," Rodriguez reported. "Signature matches the Nexus, but it's different." Chen and Vina rushed to the bridge, where the tactical display showed a new threat emerging. The remaining Nexus constructs had reformed, but their crystalline structures now showed signs of adaptation. Dense, physical armor plates had formed alongside their quantum manipulation systems. "They're learning from us," Harrison observed, having joined them on the bridge, "incorporating physical defenses to counter our hybrid weapons. Then we adapt too," Chen responded. "Archon, how quickly can your ships modify their quantum field generators? For what purpose?" "If they're combining physical and quantum defenses, we answer in kind. Instead of using quantum fields to enhance our kinetic weapons, we use them to enhance our entire ship. Dr. Harrison, remember how our reactor gained power during their quantum attack? Let's weaponize that." Understanding dawned in Harrison's eyes. "We could create a quantum-enhanced fusion pulse. The physical blast would be amplified by quantum resonance. And if we time it with a coordinated strike from the collective ships," Vina continued, her form brightening with excitement, "the combined effect would be devastating." Chen nodded. Rodriguez began calculating firing solutions. "Park, coordinate with the collective fleet. Engineering, I need options for modifying our reactor output. This time we're not just combining technologies, we're creating something entirely new." As the crew scrambled to implement the plan, Chen observed how smoothly humans and collective members now worked together. Engineers from both species collaborated seamlessly, each contributing their unique perspectives and expertise. "We're ready, Captain," Harrison announced after intense hours of modification. The reactor's been adapted to channel power through the collective's quantum field generators. "We've never attempted anything like this before." "The universe is full of things we've never attempted before," Chen replied. "That's why we're out here." She turned to the tactical display, where the advanced Nexus constructs were approaching in attack formation. "All hands, battle stations, collective ships, move into position." The Ascendant Dawn's hybrid systems hummed with power as quantum fields merged with fusion reactions. Around the ship, the collective fleet moved in perfect coordination, their own systems aligned to amplify the coming blast. "Remember," Chen broadcast to all ships, "timing is crucial. The quantum fields have to synchronize exactly with the fusion pulse, or we risk tearing ourselves apart instead of them." The Nexus constructs struck first, launching a combined quantum and kinetic assault that showed they'd learned from their previous defeat. But Chen had anticipated this. "They think they know what we're capable of," she told her crew. "Let's show them that humanity's greatest weapon isn't our technology. It's our ability to imagine new possibilities. Execute attack pattern Delta." The Dawn's reactor pulsed, its power output channeled through the quantum field generators. The resulting wave of energy was like nothing either civilization had seen before, a fusion-powered quantum cascade that rippled through space itself. The collective ships added their power to the blast, their quantum technologies amplifying and shaping the wave. The combined effect caught the Nexus constructs in a storm of quantum-enhanced nuclear energy that bypassed their hybrid defenses completely. As the enemy ships began to break apart, Chen realized they'd created more than just a new weapon. They'd forged a path toward a future where different approaches to technology didn't compete, but complemented each other. "Remarkable," Vina observed, watching the tactical display. "By working together, we've achieved something neither of our civilizations could have managed alone." Chen nodded, watching as her human crew worked alongside collective members, no longer separated by their technological differences, but united by their shared ingenuity. "That's humanity's real gift to the galaxy," she replied. "Not our technology, but our understanding that progress doesn't mean abandoning the old ways. It means finding new ways to use everything at our disposal. Unity in diversity." As the last Nexus construct disappeared from their sensors, Chen knew they'd written more than just a victory in the history books. They'd opened a door to a future where different paths of advancement could coexist and combine, creating possibilities neither civilization had dreamed possible.